Thank you for listening to We Need to Talk with Solana. Hit that like button, share, and leave a comment. Let us know what issues are important to you. Has gone out and committed wars.
Right.
And I had a reminder that do you get to go into your government's office every day and tell them what to do? Do they listen to
Mm,
you? Because
okay.
they don't listen to us. We
Right.
are a product of their lies and their deceptions, but we're not part of it.
Mm-hmm.
We don't want. If it were up to us, we'd say no more, no more. Quit
Yeah. We have.
financing both sides. Quit allowing that evil to take over countries because you want their minerals and their oil or just their dismay.
Well, it used to be that way. It used to be that if we went to war with another country for whatever reason, their, like you said, their oil. We'll use that as an example. And let's just say our country won the so-called war. We now own that oil. Nowadays,
Do we own that oil, or does some other corporation own that oil?
well, yeah, that goes
Mm-hmm.
without saying. But nowadays, it's like we're going to these so-called wars or police actions and stuff over, let's just, again, we'll use oil as an example. And if we win, we still don't have the oil. We still don't take the oil. Not even the corporations take the oil. So it's like, so what is it that we're fighting for? We're just going over there and having a hissy fit with each other. And then when we're done smacking each other, go home.
It's part of the distraction.
What did we accomplish?
We didn't accomplish anything. We destroyed a country, and but the corporations in the military industrial complex are making all the money.
Yeah,
Our government is not. It's like when we did the bailout. Well, we technically bought shares or given shares of all these banks and auto manufacturers because they got bailout money. Government
right.
still owns those shares, but we
And
don't.
the CEOs of those companies that were failing, that needed the bailout, took the bailout money and gave themselves bonuses.
Yeah, yeah. They didn't bail out
Like,
nothing. But
what are you getting
businesses.
a bonus for? You're getting a bonus for failing? I don't
Yeah.
understand.
Oh, and then there was an article saying that well, all those banks and everybody they already paid back the government. They already paid back those that money. They don't really. It wasn't deducted from our deficit.
Right.
If you pay back that money, it didn't get
Exactly.
deducted from my deficit.
Then you have modern day politicians that have $6 billion go missing while they were in their office and get on national TV because they can't deny it and say, I'm going to find out where that $6 billion went. And then we never heard anything
Never heard
else
nothing
about
again.
it.
Just like that. No longer talking
Right.
about it.
And then when you bring it up and you're like, no, no, no,
Oh,
she admitted that it went missing under her, under her time. And she admitted she's going to go find it.
yeah.
No, that never
No, that
happened.
never happened. Yeah, they wanted
And then
Mandela affect us.
the best thing ever was there was a speech by Obama. And he didn't have his teleprompters or whatever. But anyway, I forgot exactly what it was that he was talking about. And I was talking to a niece who is just like enthralled by this man. And I said, well, did you hear what he just said? Do you know? She said that was edited. I said, no, no, no. I watched it live. I watched it while he was. Do you know? She said, don't you realize that they could do live editing? As he's speaking, they can just edit whatever words they want.
Wow.
I swear to God, this is what she said to me.
Wow. So it's all a conspiracy.
It was at that point that I just went, Annie out. Annie out. Because you
Yeah, I
can't
can't
reason
reason.
with
No
that. You
ration.
just can't reason with that.
No,
And
but
her,
again, the technology, the
yeah,
lying, everything we've gone through and everything we've seen, and then here we are going, that is not how I remember it.
right, right.
But it's part of the programming. It's part of the
Yeah,
programming, and
yeah.
I can always come back to it's part of the programming because it's just
Uh,
doesn't. There's nothing else that makes sense. There's no rational reason for people to say and think that the things that they do.
right.
I mean, it's like with Trump. I'll watch him live, and then you'll see it on TV later, and it's like they totally just changed all that.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah, just watched, what's her name? Candace Owen.
Hmm.
She went for the congressional hearing or whatever,
Yes, I
and
watched that.
Senator Lau or Lou, however you say his name,
Lee.
he played a small clip of something that she said and claimed that she was praising Hitler or whatever. And he almost got away with it. He almost got away with it.
Because he
But
wouldn't let her.
luckily,
He didn't even ask her if she wanted to, respond. He was done. He went on to the questioning of the next person, and then
right.
he was done. It wasn't until the next guy came up that said, "Would you like to respond to that?" That
Yes.
cowardly act that just happened, where he played that clip and
Yeah.
didn't even let you respond to it. Totally took it out of context. Because I saw the
I
clip from
love,
the college
yeah.
that she had done that.
I love the way she called his ass on the
Yes.
carpet and actually said, you just took that snippet out on purpose, make it look good. But I do know that people do that. So like back in the Obama days, I was walking through the living room and there was, the news was on and it was Obama before I knew who he was. And there was an interview of some sort and I stopped. Every hair on my body stood up. And I looked at the TV and I said to my husband, who is that? And he said, oh, it's some senator he's running for president. And I'm like, that is an evil, evil man right there. I said, Ron, look at me. My skin is crawling. Okay, so that was my very first interaction as far as he was concerned.
Mm-hmm.
And
I saw Antichrist the first time I saw him.
yeah, a lot of
There's
people
been
were
many
saying,
Antichrists. Okay, nobody said there was just going to be one.
no, actually, according to the Bible, there are three, right? There are three. And I don't think that they're not alone. There are puppet masters. So there are more than just that. And I totally forgot where I was going with that process.
He's an evil man. That was your first interaction with him.
Yeah, but no, there was another point that I was trying to make. With the snippets that people pull out. So I was seeing all these posts about things that he supposedly said in his books. It made him look really bad. And I said to my husband, do me a favor, order those 2 books. And he's like, first he flipped out over it. And I'm like, no, listen, I need to read these books because I need to know the beginning portions of these statements and the after portions of these statements because I am not going to be programmed. Right? So we got the books. Both books plus shipping and handling cost us $3.86. But that's how he made his $40 million, right? Mm-hmm. And so I went through the book and found those particular snippets at first and read them. And I'm like, son of a bitch. That's exactly what he said and exactly what he meant. So I went on to actually read these books. And I was never so terrified reading a book in my life.
Wow.
Like the Dreams from My Father. People say it always mispronounce that title and say Dreams of My Father. Mm-hmm. And it's not Dreams of His Father, it's Dreams from His Father. And his father was major league anti-American. Oh, wow. Anti-colonization, just you name it. And it was really very, very interesting. But in his books and supposedly his own words, because his mom and his grandparents, obviously, they were white. They were also communists, which was interesting. But he said that because he was being raised by his mom and his grandparents in a very white kind of lifestyle, even though he only dated black men, basically, he shied away.
Did you say black men?
Yes.
Said that in his book?
Well, it's in history. His father is from Kenya. He's a black man from Kenya. And then his stepfather was, I believe he was black, but he was Indonesian.
I thought you were saying that he only dated black men.
Oh, no, I don't think Obama had a preference on black or white men. He dated either or. I'm not really sure.
You talking about Obama
that.
Or his father?
Well, actually, Obama.
I know, but that's the rumor that he's gay and that Michelle's a man. But
not just a rumor. A lot of people don't realize this, and I don't even know if you could find it anymore. But his lover from college actually came forward, like in the beginning of the election and stuff like that, and he mysteriously committed suicide 2 days later.
Oh my God! No, I did not know.
No, you didn't. Oh, research that out. Absolutely. Wow. But so I know that people will only take little pieces of something and try to turn it into their own narrative.
Sure.
So I actually read his books and it was they were deeply disturbing. And the one book, Oh, see, I can get into this, man. I could totally get into this.
You are.
Um, I'm completely into this. So I'll say one last thing about his books.
Okay.
Is that when he found out how a lot of people were having a negative reaction and they were starting to truly understand and realize just how racist he himself is and just how Muslim he was, or is,
Is.
he said that he didn't actually write the book. Bill Ayre wrote it for him. So then I look at people and I go, do you know who Bill Ayre is?
No.
He was domestic terrorist. He blew up government buildings. He just, look him up.
Wow.
Bill Ayre is like his closest confidant. And supposedly he's like, well, I just gave him the general, knowledge and he embellished, is what he said. But, yeah, look up Bill Ayre sometime.
Wow. See,
Look
the
him
plot
up. Yeah.
thickens. The plot thickens.
Absolutely amazing.
Always.
Absolutely.
More truth
And
revealed.
yeah, and the government is well aware of the fact that he was in charge of a lot of bombings here in the country. I'm trying to remember the name of the group that he headed. But somehow or another, he's not spending his life in prison. And I haven't been able to figure that out. He's written books and he's become extremely rich. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, there's that, and the fact that Obama's backed by the King of Saudi Arabia. The
And George Soros.
well, yeah.
And,
I mean, George
and
Soros.
George Soros.
Ugh. Every time I hear that name, it's just evil.
Oh, yeah. And his son is following in his
Oh,
footsteps.
heck yeah. He's taking over the family business. Everyone's
Yeah.
like, import or deport George Soros, ban him from the United States, but that's not going to stop them. They are so fucking filthy rich.
Yeah, they'll just make him stronger. Or piss him off even more. It's like, why are you trying to destroy a country that you actually live in and make money from?
I know. You have to reveal. People have to know. And then
Absolutely.
let the dominoes fall where they may, because this world it's just so backwards. It's so backwards, and it just gets worse. It just gets worse.
It's stupid is what it is. Okay, so back onto politics.
Yeah.
Off of Obama, off of Trump, and on to Bernie Sanders. Right? It's all about socialism. This is just how brainwashed people are. Okay, it's how brainwashed they are. He's into the whole socialism thing. And yes, socialism sounds fabulous, especially to new age kids or whatever, right? It sounds fabulous. And they have absolutely no idea true ramifications of socialism. So here is this man who was making, I believe it's $174,000 a year being a senator, with all the perks and whatnot. And him and his wife lived in a modest little house. A lot of people totally forget the fact that she was being brought up on charges for mishandling $10 million that was given to the school that she was the head of. Those charges disappeared. Nobody pays any attention to that. The other thing that they don't seem to pay attention to, or that they dismiss or have been brainwashed with, is the day that Bernie Sanders was walking the White House grounds with President Obama during the whole election process. He had made a statement on the news and said that if he backs out, it will be on his own terms. If he backs out of the election, it will be on his own terms, which I can appreciate. Well, after he had that stroll with Mr. Obama, he pulled out of the race and was suddenly able to buy a $600,000 summer home, and just recently bought another multi-million-dollar home. And his net worth at this point in the bank is $2 million.
Wow.
In 2.5 years' time. So here's this man, what is he, in his 70s, late 60s, early 70s, has never been able to save that kind of money. And all of a sudden, in 2.5 years, he managed to make $2 million.
Well, his book sold. His #1 bestseller, according to him.
I want him to write a book on how to make $2 million in 2 years' time, because it was not from books.
No, I know. I'm just saying that's what he was told. That's what he told everybody.
Right.
Because again, he was doing a town hall meeting the other day on Fox,
Oh,
and
yeah.
he sounded stupid. He's all
Every,
pushing his socialism, and the one of the hosts was like, well, didn't you have a big windfall with your money? Aren't you worth like $1 million right now? And because you made a lot of money, you wrote a book, and it sold, and you made a lot of money. Isn't that called capitalism? And why is it okay for you to do that, but you want to push the social idea on me? Yeah,
right.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So I have another nephew who lives in California. He's trying to break into the music world, and he's a very talented artist. And he's all about this, whole socialism and free college and free this and free this and free that. And so I had a conversation with him about it. And I said, your hopes is to one day become famous from your music. And he said, well, yeah. And I said, with fame comes riches, right? With money. And he goes, yeah, so he's like all about that. I'm talking to he was 25 at the time. And I said to him, so when you become famous and you make all those millions of dollars from going on all those tours and selling all your music and stuff like that, how much of that are you going to give to me? And he said, oh, I'm not going to forget my favorite aunt, And I said, no. I want to know what percentage of your bank account you're going to give me.
Right.
And he's looking at me funny now. And I said, because that's what you're saying, is that you're okay with socialism. So if you make $3 million, selling your music and whatnot, and your aunt only has $1,000 in the bank, and that means you have to give me $1.5 million to make us equal.
Right.
And that was when he started to understand a little bit more about socialism.
Right.
And then him and his friends on this thread were talking about free college and free healthcare, and I chimed in again. They hate when I do that. They always call me names and everything else, or whatever.
Sure, whatever.
So I said to him, well, that mom and dad both work for a living. And he said, yeah. And I said, that sometimes they struggle from paycheck to paycheck to, make the mortgage payment, and get you guys what it is that you need. And he said, well, yeah. I said, okay. So now when you have free college and you have free medical, I said, we'll take the medical out of there. We'll just do free college for now, okay? And he's like, yeah, everybody should be entitled to that. I said, okay, that's wonderful. I said, so now let's just say your parents' mortgage payment is $1,500 a month. I don't know what it is, but we'll say $1,500 a month. And he's like, okay, that's fair. I said, well, that is the payment on their loan. That is your taxes, and that's their insurance. So that's all rolled into one, and that's now $1,500 that they struggle sometimes to make ends meet. Now you want a free college. I said, so that means, because you realize nothing is truly free, somebody's got to pay for it someplace because the teachers have to be paid and the air conditioner needs to go and the electric needs to go. So you need money. I said, so now what's going to happen is your parents' property and school tax is going to go up to pay for that free college. Mm-hmm. So now how do your parents who are having a hard time making ends meet with $1,500 a month, how do they manage $3,000 a month to send the kid around this corner to college when they couldn't afford to send you? Mm-hmm. Where do they get that money from?
Right.
And his original thing was, well, that's not where the money comes from. I said, okay, then where does the money come from? And he said, the government. I said, okay, where does the government get their money? And I kind of stumped him with that, where he was like, well, I'll have to look into this. I said, good. While you're looking into this, text your mother right now and ask your mother what the school taxes are, not the property taxes, her school taxes. And he said, what do you mean school taxes?
See, they don't teach kids enough about everyday living to even know the difference between, that's the indoctrination.
Right.
Didn't mean to interrupt.
Absolutely. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to get long-winded, but that story is just so...
Yeah.
It fits perfectly into every facet that we're talking about.
Yeah.
We're not teaching people the truths.
Right. We're giving them all the information.
Yeah, and it's so
bits and pieces
for
here and there
of the world to convince people how wonderful they
It's
are.
amazing people get up and actually get out of bed every day, because if it weren't for, someone telling them that they had to be at work at 8 o'clock, they're just so, well, I guess there's not a lot of people that, there are those that don't, you have to, but in any case, I'm just saying we're so indoctrinated to the way
Hmm.
things are, the way they want us to see things, and not to
Right,
the realities of the way things are.
right.
It is overwhelming, frankly, it's becoming underwhelming for me to even contemplate, what do you do about it? But
Because
take every opportunity, like you just did. You talk to the kids.
right,
I mean, they're clearly not getting that information from school,
right.
or their
Well,
parents even.
everybody on that thread that was originally calling me names and all this other stuff, they all became extremely quiet.
Yeah, of course.
You know,
Throw some truth.
so out of the 20 millennials that were calling me the C word and everything else and a moron, and I don't know what I'm talking about,
Hmm.
if I got to at least two of them,
Yeah.
just stop and go, well, wait a second, that makes sense.
Yeah. Wait a minute.
You know,
Maybe I don't want to be a socialist. I don't.
right,
And I'm sorry. You can just look at other countries and see how their socialism, Venezuela, has worked out for them. And that's
right,
where we're headed. All the crap going on in France right now. That's where we're headed. And that's
yeah,
what they want that disruption to be everywhere,
right,
because it just feeds their machines more. Just feeds their.
yeah.
And I'm not talking money. Even it's like gotten to the point where it's just literally. They own your body. What is it? The California mayor or somebody came out and said, "We own your bodies. We can inject in you whatever we want. We
He's
own
right.
you." And he's
He's right.
absolutely right. As soon as you're
Okay.
born, that birth certificate puts you on file as their property.
Right. Like
They're using you as an asset.
when I was back when I was born, you got your birth certificate, and then later in life, like when you were in like second, third grade or something, you got a social security card.
Hmm.
Now you get a birth certificate and a social security card before you even carry that baby out of there.
That's right. Got to sign all that
And
paperwork. Have it all done
right,
before you leave the
and then
hospital.
they have to have their certain vaccinations, and then you can't put your
Oh,
kid in school unless they're vaccinated. Now the newest thing is this HPV virus or whatever, HPV, whatever it is. My nephew is 15, well, he's 16 now. He just turned 16. But in order for him to go to school last year, his mother had to get him injected with HPV virus
hmm,
vaccination.
yeah.
And then there's a second part of it. So they're like, and my nephew, you see, he's autistic, and they're like, well, this is in case you decide to become sexually active. And I'm like, really? You know, really?
I mean, that's the reason that they
So,
give you the Hep C and Hep 1 and Hep 2 and Hep 3 the first 3 months. As soon as you're born, you're getting that shot before you leave the hospital now.
right,
You're not an
right.
IV drug user or sexually active as a newborn.
Uh,
We,
now, granted, I'm not going to take away from vaccinations completely because look what's going on with the measles right now, right? Polio is almost non-existent. The vaccinations from years ago worked.
from years
The
ago.
vaccinations now, not so much because it's all the synthetics that they're putting in,
Oh, yeah.
all the
The live virus itself. That's why they're saying there's a measles outbreak right now. Those kids were vaxxed. That outbreak is not happening in unvaxxed children. It's happening in
no.
vaxxed children.
Actually, the biggest community that got hit was the Hasidic Jew community because they do not vaccinate.
Ooh. So yeah, the
They
last
knew.
thing I read was about how these were vaxxed kids that were getting the measles.
Oh, and I read that too. I did. We read that too, and it's just like when you get the flu shot, and then you get the flu, and you
Yeah.
say to the doctor, "Hey, doc, I got the flu shot." Oh, it's a different strain of flu.
Yeah, exactly. But then what was the point of the shot? That's why they give
Right.
the
So
flu
it's a
shot.
different strain. It's a different strain of measles. But my question is this, Solana: is it really the measles?
Yeah, right? Who knows? We're being told that. But really, they lied about everything. There's no telling what it is.
Yeah,
We
I've
know they
seen.
have cures for cancer. We know they have cures for HIV. And they're
Oh,
still
absolutely,
throwing you the treatment.
absolutely,
They
absolutely.
lie to us
But
about everything. That's,
yeah,
they do.
yeah,
That's the whole point here, is that they lie to us, and it desensitizes us overwhelms
hmm
us to where we can't handle truths.
there's more money to be made by keeping us on treatments and medications than there is in curing us.
Yeah, yeah,
So if I go out, God forbid I get cancer, and I can go out and pay $10,000 or $100,000 for the cure, and I no longer have cancer. Well, had I stayed on the chemo and the radiation and the medication and the doctor's visits and all that other stuff, they make 10 times that amount on
heck
me.
yeah, I know.
It's just like today's technology, even telephones, right? They're only made to last a certain amount of time. And the ones that are made correctly and well update you out of room
Yeah,
and force you
to
to
have
buy
that.
another.
Yeah, I mean that's what they do with everything: Xbox, PlayStation, all these gamings,
Mhm. Right.
everything. It's a
Upgrade,
limited.
upgrade.
It's a limited because they know. See that they've planned. Like I said, if we're finding out about it, they've known about it for 50 years. So they have a
Right.
5, 10, 15, 20, 25 year plan,
Right.
and we're just living through it.
Yeah.
We're just.
Hey, I got a good one for you.
Hmm.
Back in the 1980s, my first husband used to get Penthouse all the time.
Hmm.
And I loved reading Penthouse. Yes, there are articles in there.
Yes, they were.
But I used to love reading Penthouse and Xavier Hollander. I loved her stories. But they did have articles in there. And there was an article, and may God strike me dead right now if I am black. There was an article in there that it was supposed to be a 3-part article. And it was with a scientist that used to work for the U.S. government. And he spoke, it was when HIV and stuff like that was just coming out. So it was probably around 85, 86, maybe even 87. So he went on to say how it was actually term warfare testing. And what they had done is they had gone to a very remote area in Africa, and he named the area, he named the tribe. Can't remember what it is because it's from a lot of years ago.
Right.
And they had tested it on there, but they had not counted on the fact that such a remote tribe that, no cars, no vehicle, nothing like that, such a remote tribe would ever travel to other places. So somebody obviously from that tribe must have traveled to another tribe and then so forth and so on. Well, it was supposed to be a 3-part, a 3-part interview. And he suddenly went missing after the first interview was published.
Oh wow.
And shortly thereafter, the government finally came forward and said, we found the very first case of HIV, and it started in this area in Africa with a green monkey.
Right.
It was the area that the scientists spoke of. It was the tribe that the scientists spoke of. But the government was saying it came from a green monkey.
Right. Yep.
So a green monkey that's been around for hundreds of years
Right.
or whatever,
Thousands.
all of a sudden, so, and that was really, really interesting, but that scientist just
Yeah.
gone.
Right.
So
No.
they were never able to finish it.
Yeah, they eliminate is their name of the game. Anything and everything to do with. I
Yeah,
mean,
get your hands on that publication of Penthouse, and you got yourself a lot of money right there.
right.
Pretty interesting.
And that's just
So
it. Half truths and half bullshit. They just
I
we
think
ain't gonna get a straight answer.
they learned from years ago, like with Agent Orange when they used that Doran War and stuff. I think they learned years ago that before they actually use any of these things, they have to make sure that they have an antidote to
Sure.
it.
Yeah, in case they get sick.
Yeah, so HIV,
Yep,
they're
there's an
all
antidote. Yeah,
right.
yeah, because they're all man-made illnesses.
But lo and behold, thankfully, I guess you could say, people with the HIV virus or AIDS or however you want to put it, are living very, very long lives because of the medication that they're now taking. It keeps their T cell counts and so forth, and well. So
No, I think Trump even came out a couple months ago and said there was a cure for HIV. Since he signed into the executive order, the right to try, there's been more things come out that say, well, there's a cure for this.
Yeah.
Because of course, you start giving people the right to try something else, and they're going to find out They don't
Right.
need all crap because it's curable in other ways. So they might as well come out and say, "Well, we have the cure, and here we're going to sell it to you now."
Well, Mexico and Sweden, I believe it's Sweden, they have a process that you can go through where it actually heats the blood and you get hooked up to this generator of sorts. And it's actually known to cure HIV. And there's also a thing in Sweden that is known for curing many types of cancer. Well, according to the U.S. government, if you travel outside of our country to another country for a medical cure, it is treasonous. And
That's why the right to try though has been implemented.
right,
So it's no longer treasonous to try and go and get a
well,
cure somewhere else. But
he's
again, the
trying.
pharma is the one who did that.
Yeah.
Farmers are the one who put those laws down. Thank you for listening to We Need to Talk with Solana. Hit that like button, share, and leave a comment. Let us know what issues are important to you.